I don't know. I don't know what I did, man. I've already talked to Renee about it. I don't understand, man. I didn't do anything.
Did you sleep
I
on
mean,
it
no,
wrong?
no, I don't think so. Normally, there's an act of stupidity that precedes this kind of pain.
Well, I don't know. I just go to the doctor with it.
Well, I may. All right. Are we ready?
Yeah. Are you you got notes for what's next?
Yeah,
you do.
I updated them.
Okay. You're in the pilot seat for this one because I don't I never read the Ultimates really, so
Just pitch in, man.
yeah.
Go catch up.
I'll jump in where I can.
Yeah. You'll catch up.
If I get everything. Yeah. All right. I'm ready when you are.
Oh, let's see. Got the stuck down in my head. I peed. Yeah. All right. Whatever you are.
Cool. You got the intro ready for what's next?
Yep.
All right. Counting in. 3, 2, 1.
Hello again. This is the What's Next podcast. I am Pat.
And I am Sean.
And this week, we're going to discuss the Ultimates. We're the guys that bring you the 6 months behind podcast with everything in the great Marvel Unlimited app. And we're going to explore the Ultimates and the Ultimates 2 and how they are relevant to everything you want to know in Marvel Unlimited and how you can explore your reading opportunities there. How you doing, man?
I'm all right, dude. How are you?
I'm doing well. You know, without the Ultimates, there's a Marvel Cinematic Universe, but it's not nearly as cool as it is.
No, you're pretty much relegated to that awful David Hasselhoff Nick Fury movie. That would be your Marvel Cinematic Universe.
Did you ever see that?
Yes.
Oh God, it was bad, man. It was just I mean, all you got to do is just say it's David Hasselhoff playing Nick Fury. Is that available as a streaming anywhere?
I seriously doubt it.
That's one of those things like the Fantastic Four movie that was made in the mid '90s that Marvel literally bought. There was like 3 copies of it, and Marvel bought them and destroyed them so it would never see the light of day.
Yeah, I'm sure they would do that with that Nick Fury movie if they could.
There was a Captain America movie they did the same thing with. Just bought them, destroyed them.
Yeah.
Never wanted to see the night of day. And if they could do the same thing with the Hasselhoff movie, I'm sure they did.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
So Marvel launched the Ultimate Universe. I think it was Spider-Man, then maybe the X-Men. Then they came up with the Ultimates. And the Ultimates were the relaunching of the Avengers in the Ultimate Universe. Before we begin, we should discuss how to get in touch with us, which is the email.
You can email us at 6monthsbehind@gmail.com. That is the number 6monthsbehind@gmail.com.
The website is www.6monthsbehind.com. There you can find our Twitter feed, our Facebook, our Tumblr feed. It's all there just for your perusing. You can also find all the notes on this episode and all the other episodes of What's Next, so you can keep perusing everything we have discussed. So for your unlimited reading enjoyment. Anyway, so the Ultimates were the 3rd book issued in the Unlimited era. It came out in 2002. The Ultimates, yes, came out in 2002. And it's basically the Avengers being recreated. And I was reading about it today, and basically they just told Mark Millar, it was created by Mark Millar and Brian Hitch. Great team, man. Millar did dynamic writing with it. Brian Hitch, his art is just magnificent. He's doing some work on Justice League of America right now for DC. Right now being we're talking May of 2017 right now, June of 2017, I should say. And his work is still fabulous. The only problem they had was they couldn't ship on time. It took them 2.5 years to do the first 13 issues. Took them another 2.5 years to do the next 13 issues of Ultimates 2. It basically took them 5 years to get out 26 issues. I mean, that's
Dude.
It took them. They were running 2.5, 3 months for every issue. If you were going to if I was going to Bob's, if you were going to a comic book store, you were just hoping it showed up every 2 months. I mean, it was bad, man.
I don't know how they ever sold anything at that rate.
If you looked, each time issue 1 was just sold hundreds of thousands of copies, and by the time it got to 13, it was dropping off horrible. I mean, in the first series of the Ultimates, issue 1 sold like 200,000 copies. Issue 13 sold like 56,000. That's how bad.
Yeah, I
it
mean,
had
people had
dropped off.
forgotten about it.
Yeah, man. I mean, dude, unless you had it on a pull list, you'd completely forgot about it. I mean, it started in March of 2002 and ended in April of 2004. Dude, that's 2 years, man. Really? For 13 issues. That's dude, it's just bad, man. And it was a great story. It was dude, it was great. However, we have unlimited, so you can sit down and read them in one night if you want to.
Yeah.
And they're good. And here's why they're good. Because they reimagined the Marvel universe into what became the cinematic universe. Here's what they did. Before the Ultimates, Nick Fury was an old white guy. They made him Samuel L. Jackson in a leather jacket with a cool black guy. Okay,
Yeah.
that's in a cool African American. That's what they did. The
And
Triskelion.
When we say it's Samuel L. Jackson, that's how they wrote him. They wrote him as Samuel L. Jackson in the book. That was the inspiration for the new Nick Fury, and that is part of the reason why he's playing Nick Fury in the cinematic universe.
Yes, they inspired each other.
Yes, he was modeled after the actor in the comics.
Yes, and then Samuel L. Jackson read the comic and said, "Oh, I got to play this in the movie."
Yeah.
The Triskelion didn't start anywhere in the 616 universe. It started in the Ultimates. The helicarrier, there used to be one helicarrier in S.H.I.E.L.D. When you start reading the Ultimates, there's like dozens of them.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they blow 6 of them up at a time. Okay, all right, we'll build another 6. In S.H.I.E.L.D. and the Ultimates, the Avengers, if you will, became this world peacekeeping force in the Ultimates. In the Ultimates, Captain America in the 616 universe was always this peace-loving person who was never killed anyone. In the Ultimates, he's a soldier. What should Captain America be? He's leading troops into battle. He's a soldier. If he hits somebody with his fist, a shield, picks up a gun, drives a tank, does whatever he has to do to lead his forces to victory. That's how they wrote him in the Ultimates. That's how you see him in the movies. That's never how you saw him in the 616 universe. Never. Of course, now you see him as Nazi, but that's a different story. It's that's a different episode entirely. Yeah, that's what they did with the Ultimates. They never sobered up Tony Stark. Okay,
he was still a drunk at the end of the Ultimate Universe.
He's still a drunk. They didn't care who lived and who died in the Ultimate Universe. Kill a character, don't kill it didn't matter. You never knew which character was going to live and die because they were all disposable. You never knew who was going to turn traitor, who was going to live, who was going to die, because they were all disposable. Every one of them. For the entire run of the Ultimate Universe, 13, 14 years, you never knew when one of them was going to die because everybody was disposable.
Right. It's like we talked about in the previous episode for Ultimate Spider-Man. At some point, they killed Peter Parker and brought out a new guy, Miles Morales. Yeah. You know, at some point, they kill Wolverine and his son becomes Wolverine.
Yeah.
You know,
there's a point, I think it's in I forget if it's in the first series, which is Ultimates, or Ultimates 2, they kill Hawkeye's entire family, his wife, his kids, all of them. And he loses his mind, rightfully so, and just becomes a murdering psychopath. You know,
Yeah.
he's on the side of justice, but he's still a murdering psychopath.
Yeah, he basically becomes the Punisher.
Yeah,
For all
yeah,
intents and purposes.
He's working for Shield. He's helping the good guys, but the wrong person gets in his way and gets killed too. Well, yeah, so much for your luck. There you go.
Exactly.
The scene in the first Thor movie where they think Thor's crazy and he's lost his powers and he can't pick up the hammer. Well, that's all from the Ultimates. That's all from the Ultimates.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there are line for line dialogue in the movies that comes straight from the comic books.
Yeah, I mean it's that's how influential these two series are. That's why you want to read the Ultimates, and they are that good. And it's not just that they influence the movies. When you read these things, there's good storytelling here. It's extremely good storytelling. It's in the Ultimates in the 616 universe, Hank Pym beats up Janet Pym, his wife, and everybody says, "Oh, you shouldn't have done that, Hank." In the Ultimates, he does that, and somebody goes and beats the crap out of him and puts him in the hospital.
Steve Rogers, isn't it?
Yes, just beats the snot out of him. And Nick Fury's on the radio, dude, don't let him find him. Stop him.
Yeah.
Keep him away from Hank Pym. Right. And everybody's like, I ain't getting in his way. I ain't stopping him. He beats him into a bloody pulp. I mean, that's the kind of storytelling that they did in the Ultimates, and it's amazing. I mean, there's one of the characters that ultimately becomes a traitor and betrays the whole team. Dude, it's great storytelling, and it's why you should read. It's why you should have Unlimited, and why we enjoy reading these things, and why we're so high on Unlimited. It's a great read, man. It really is.
I mean, there's a reason they chose this material to influence the movies, because it's really good. I mean, Mark Millar's the guy that brought you Civil War. So,
yeah. It really is that good. And they take these characters and they explore different parts of them that they can't really do with the 616 universe. They do things in the Ultimate universe, and it's confusing because you've got the Ultimates and you've got the Ultimate universe. So it gets confusing as I'm speaking about it.
Right. The Ultimates are the Avengers of the Ultimate universe. Right.
So they do things in the Ultimate universe that you simply can't do in the 616 universe, because you got so many characters and you got so much continuity over there, but they're doing things in that Ultimate universe that they're simply not allowed to do in the 616 universe, because it's all intertwined. And it's, you got so many editors, you got so many characters, you got so many things together. Over in the Ultimate universe, you've just got this giant sandbox where they can just do what they want to. And
you can take all these familiar characters and do new things with them.
And I'm gonna put a link. I had a lot of trouble finding it because I just assumed it would be there, and it wasn't. And I'll probably make it a different link on the website of finding all of the reading of all the Ultimate books in order, and it really wasn't there. I mean, I found it in like one place, and it was kind of bad. And then there was another place, and it was like linking you to a place where you could buy all the books. So every book was a link to another place, and there really wasn't a good here's a Wikipedia page of every Ultimate book where you could read them in chronological order, or not really story order, if you will. How about that?
Yeah.
So I really want to copy and paste it and then get it in something where I can just put it on the website in reading order, because I want to read them in order, because I had trouble deciphering them in order. Okay, this is the Ultimate Spider-Man books. Here's the Ultimate X-Men books. Here's, the stories as well as I do. Here's Ultimate Galactus. Here's Ultimate X. Here's where all these things happened. Here's how the Ultimates fit into them. Here's how the Ultimate X-Men fit into them. Here's how the Ultimate Fantastic Four fit into them. Here's where Reed Richards lost his mind and became the maker. You know, here's where all these things happen, because I really want to read all these Ultimate books in order because they really are that good.
Yeah. So real quick before we go, tell us specifically in the Marvel Unlimited app where we can find these first 2 Ultimate series.
It's really easy. Just go to the Browse tab, and you're when you go to the Browse tab, it's going to say a lot of Ultimate. Just go to the U. It's going to be confusing because everything's going to be Ultimate. But scroll down to the bottom of the U's, and you'll see Ultimate. First, it'll say Ultimates, then it'll say Ultimates 2. And that's what you want to read. You want to read Ultimates and Ultimates 2. Yeah, those are both the Mark Millar and Brian Hitch series, and that's what you want to read.
Yeah, and then they're always dated out next to them. It should say something like 2001, something like that.
2002 and 2004.
Yeah,
okay. Series you want to read.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Those are the 2 you want to start with, and then, like you said, you'll put it on the website, the actual Ultimate Universe reading order, because there's a bunch of that stuff, like Ultimate Vision and stuff like that I'd like to go back and read that I never really.
Well, see, that was my problem. Is between these series, between Ultimates 1, Ultimates 2, Ultimates 3, there's stuff in between that I knew was there and I couldn't find it, like Ultimate Vision, Ultimate Galactus. There's stuff in between, and I couldn't find it to read it, to know what order to read it in. And I just got to make my own list. I just got to put it together and do it myself because no one else did.
Okay. Well, cool.
Yeah, it's not hard. I just got to copy and paste it and remove all the links. And, you know, what's another hour in front of the computer?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, there you
go. Well, that should give you plenty of reading material. And we'll be back next week with another recommendation of what you should be reading next in Marvel Unlimited. Until then, please give us an email at 6monthsbehind@gmail.com. Also visit our website,
www.6monthsbehind.com.
And also check out our other podcast, 6 Months Behind, where we talk about and review the latest comics in Marvel Unlimited.
There you go.
Until next time, guys. See you later.
Peace.
Okay, good job.
Thank you. Wish we had a clock up there.
I was keeping an eye on the time.
Okay.
It was about 20 minutes.
I didn't think it was that long. I thought it was about 10.
No.
Okay.
It was somewhere between 15 and 20.
Okay, I just got to start my phone next time.
Yeah, which is what we want.
That's what we want. Yes. I didn't think I had gone long enough.
No, it was about 15 minutes.
That's perfect.
Oh, did you have a classic read?
I did, and I forgot it, and okay, before you post, you already posted the notes. Oh, okay, fine.
Sorry, man.
That's all right. I'll get there.
My bad.
It's okay. I'll scribble them down on my notes. That's why I have handwritten notes. Dude, Lids had a great sale today, man. I bought me another hat.
We don't have a Lids anymore.
Yeah, you do. It's not the Galleria.
Oh.
I bought a hat last time I was in town.
Well, I don't consider the Galleria in town, but.
Why not?
Because it's a long way away.
Not really.
I don't go out there very often.
Okay, now I made my notes. What if you want something from Lids, you'll be going out there?
Yeah, I don't
anyway,
really.
anyway,
order.
they sent me an email and I've wanted a Memphis Grizzly hat and it was like $30 and discounted to 20 and it said 30% off. And I thought, well, that's already 30. And at 20, it was a good deal. And it was 20 less than 30. So when I went to order it, it was like $14.
That's
and
not bad.
Dude. And then I picked it up I scheduled it to pick up at the store. I scheduled it to pick up at the store. So I saved on freight. So dude, the hat, it was like a $30 hat that I'm getting for like 15 and a quarter with tax.
Yeah, that's not bad at all.
Dude, I didn't think so. I swear I had a classic read. I'm looking at these books trying to think what it was. Oh. That's my daughter. Okay. Oh, all right, I got it. I'm just going to go old school. Okay. All right, where are we at? All right, you got wisdom. Good. I got Civil War number 7. We're going to talk about the Secret Empire and the sales, and we're going to talk about the Amazon sale. Okay, cool. Then we're going to keep it all under 2 hours. Yep.
Yeah. It's gone. Oh, who are we this week?
Do we want to be Jeff Bezos and Tim Cook?
Who's Jeff Bezos?
Bezos, not the guy that owns Amazon?
No.
What's the guy's name that owns Amazon?
Hang on. Jeff Bezos.
Bezos. Is it Bezos?
Yeah, not Debo. Yeah, Bezos.
Yeah, Bezos, Bezos, same thing.
Okay, yeah, we'll be Jeff Bezos and Tim Cook.
Okay.
That's appropriate because they announced that Amazon would be coming to the Apple TV.
Oh, there you go.
Do you see where I put in to plug what's next in the intro?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
The intro and outro?
Yeah.
Okay.
And
cool.
I got it. Okay.
Cool. Well, I'm ready when you are.
All right. Here we go.
All right. Counting down. 3, 2, 1.
What is up? This is the 6 month behind podcast for the week of 5/29/17. Where we discuss everything in the wonderful, glorious Marvel Unlimited app. I am Pat.
And I am Sean.
And this week we are Jeff Bezos and Tim Cook because they gave this week. They gave, didn't they, brother?
Yes, and it's Jeff Bezos, not Bezos.
What'd I say?
Bezos.
Bezos. Yeah, whatever.
Yeah, the guy that owns Amazon and the guy that runs Apple. Yeah.
Yeah, they gave.
Yeah. Amazon Prime Video now coming to Apple TV as of the keynote event this morning. So
Yeah, I don't
hooray,
care about
I
that.
guess. Yeah, no, me either. But
Yeah, but what he did give is he gave Marvel Comics at a incredibly discounted rate on Comixology and Amazon Prime this weekend.
yeah, if a lot of you guys probably noticed because it did make the rounds in all the Reddits and on social media, but
And on our website and our Twitter feed, if you
that
happen
too.
to go to it. Yes.
They took a bunch of collected editions of comic books and discounted them pretty steeply.
Yeah, we're talking Marvel Masterworks that are usually like $12 for $3 and $4. Graphic novels that are usually $4 for 60 and 80 cents.
Mm-hmm.
It was some deeply discounted stuff.
I picked up the Punisher Max series by Garth Ennis, which you can't get on Marvel Unlimited because it's part of their Max line, which is their like NC-17 stuff. It's brutal. But it's like a 400 some odd page graphic novel for $5.
Yeah.
I picked up a bunch of the Spider-Gwen stuff.
Yeah, I picked up a couple of graphic novels. I picked up a couple of Masterworks that I wanted. And of course, the Marvel team up stuff that I want is still not there. And the Silver Surfer stuff that I want is not there. Somebody's plotting against me.
Sorry, man. That's just stuff that you'll see it on Unlimited eventually, but I don't know that you're going to see it in that sale.
Some of these single issues are for sale, but I could not find it collected.
Yeah.
And the single issues are for sale for like $2 or $3 a piece. And I was like, that's not happening.
Oh, speaking of collected editions, Unworthy Thor 1-5 is on there, and it's going to be a while before we get that on Unlimited. So if you want to, jump ahead a little bit, that is also on sale this week on Amazon.
Is that sale over? Or is it still ongoing?
Last I heard, it's still going. In fact, there's a post on the Marvel Unlimited Reddit saying, okay, if you're an Unlimited subscriber, here's all the stuff you should buy in the sale that is not on Unlimited.
Did you get it?
The Unworthy Thor?
Yeah.
Yeah. That was one of the first things I bought. I bought that.
Oh, I didn't know.
X-Men. What was it? That X-Men story? God Loves, Man Kills, something like that.
Oh yeah. Did you read that intro?
No, I hadn't. I hadn't gotten around to it.
That intro is good, man. The Chris Claremont 2-page intro, it's got to be 1,000, 1,200 words, something like that. That alone is worth the price of the graphic novel, because God Love Man Kills is actually in Unlimited, but they edit out that intro. And that intro is worth the 80 cents you spend in the graphic novel.
Yeah, it was like $1.80. So
no, it was 80 cents. 80
was
cents.
it 80 cents? Okay.
80 cents.
Yeah,
Worth it.
Totally worth it. And that intro, I haven't read it, but it basically explains his thinking, what he was thinking in terms of
politics and theology when he wrote it.
Yeah, essentially. And it was really good.
It was very good.
If you want to tell us what you got in the Amazon sale this week, please email us at 6monthsbehind@gmail.com. That's the number 6monthsbehind@gmail.com. Please visit the website.
www.6monthsbehind@gmail.com.
And also go check out our other podcast, What's Next. It's a podcast dedicated to telling you what you should be reading next in the Marvel Unlimited app. You've read a couple of events, you've been reading the regular stuff, but if you want to go back and read some other stuff, we're telling you what's worth reading. It's a short show. This show tends to go an hour and a half, 2 hours sometimes. We tend to keep What's Next to 15 to 20 minutes. So go check that out if you're interested in knowing what you should be reading next in Marvel Unlimited.
Yes. We do discuss spoilers. We're going to discuss lots of them.
We've got 2 big events this week. So
yeah, and we have all kinds of things. We're fixing to discuss Secret Empire in a moment. I don't even know what you're going to call how we discuss Secret Empire in a minute. It's just going to be a general comic book rant. So plug your ears. So we discuss spoilers. If you don't want to hear about spoilers, just, I don't know, read some books and come back.
Yeah, hit pause, go read the books, come back. We'll still be here.
Yeah, we will still be here. Oh, go to our Twitter feeds. Twitter, Facebook, it's all there.
Yes, at 6 months behind, the same way it is with the email, the number 6 months behind.
There you go.
Yeah. So what about Secret Empire?
Dude, Secret Empire 3 came out last week.
Yeah.
So I go up to my store, the comic seller here in Memphis, see my buddy Jason, and there's like 3 or 4 guys at the counter, getting stuff, buying things. So I wander over to the shelf, and he's got his shelves arranged, and he's really got it organized good because like a DC section in one bookcase, one set of shelves, and there's a Marvel section in another. So I go to the Marvel section, and then it's like there's like one whole shelf that's what came out this week, and then the previous week is under it, then all the miscellaneous stuff's under that. And I look at this week's shelf, and there's nothing on it. And I'm looking for Secret Empire number 3, and it's not there. And there's a book I wanted called Secret Empire Uprising, and that's what I was looking for because I wanted to buy it. Everybody had been talking about how good it was.
Sure,
not there. There's a Deadpool book, and I won't tell you why it was good, but it was really crucial to what was going on or what happened in Secret Empire last week. He kills a Marvel character. Deadpool does in Secret Empire. I wanted the Deadpool book. Not there. Dude, the shelf is empty. Okay. I mean, it's like, there's like, a couple of Moon Knight books, one Black Panther book, and a couple other miscellaneous books. And it's the only thing on the shelf. And I'm looking and I'm like, did the book's not shipped this week or something? And finally I wander over and I get up to Jason, the guy that owns this thing. I'm like, dude, man, what happened? He's like, they're sold out. And I'm like, what do you mean? He's like, Diamond Distributors. For people who don't know, if you look at the United States on the map, okay, Memphis is basically in the middle. You got Memphis and St. Louis are geographically in the middle of the United States. And Memphis is one of the largest distribution centers in the United States.
Yeah, it's where FedEx is located.
People don't know it. The Memphis International Airport is the largest freight airport in the world. Not Hong Kong, not Chicago O'Hare, not one of New York airports. Memphis International is the largest freight airport in the world. Look at the railroad map sometimes, and they all converge in Memphis.
Yeah.
Okay. So what Jason does is he literally drives to the Diamond Distribution Center, which is in Memphis, and picks up his comics. And, he's got what he pre-ordered. And then every week he can say, hey, can I get a few extra copies of this and this and this? He drives over there last Wednesday, picks up his pull list and says, hey, can I get a few extra copies of this and this and this? No. Why not? Because they're sold out. What do you mean they're sold out? There are no extra copies. You mean there's no extra copies of Secret Empire? No, there's no extra copies of anything. Why not? Well, because Marvel didn't print any and we didn't order any, so there's not any extra copies. Well, when's there going to be extra copies? We don't know. You mean there's not any extra copies of Secret Empire number 3?
Yeah,
not a
big
one
event that you're trying to promote and convincing everyone to buy. There's no extra copies for people who might want to buy it?
None. Not a zip zero. You mean none for anybody anywhere in the United States? Nope, not one. So literally what shipped to distributors, to comic stores last week is it. Zero kaput. If you didn't get it on a pull list, you didn't get it. Period.
Yeah, if your store didn't order that book for you, you didn't get it.
You didn't get it. Period. And he had a feeling that there were some stores that didn't get everything they ordered.
Yeah.
Which, and I asked him, I said, man, what are they doing? He said, they want you to order it digitally. He said, I don't care what they say about brick and mortar stores. They want you to order it digitally. And I came home and I went to Amazon, Comixology, same thing, and ordered the books digitally. And it doesn't, I don't understand why they say they want to keep brick and mortar stores open and then they're not printing extra copies of books. I don't understand it because you're driving the market out of business.
I have to wonder if it's specifically with Secret Empire, it's that they know it's kind of going to flop. So they don't want to have they don't want to spend the money on a ton of extra printings that may never move. But at the same time, if they want to support digital, they should be pumping extra effort into Marvel Unlimited and other efforts.
I published a story. I put a story on the website a couple of weeks ago, and if you scroll down, you'll find it. And
it explains their sales.
It explains their sales. It explains the direct marketing process. It explains how we got here. And I just don't understand what they're doing. I really don't. And I don't think they know what they're doing at this point.
I think they want to support both ends. They don't want to leave their brick and mortar relationships behind, because if they do, that market collapses and they put a bunch of people out of work, and nobody wants to see their local comic book shop go under. But they also want to support digital, and I think they're having a hard time figuring out how to balance that. And dude, I don't know. I don't see why you can't do both.
I don't know, man, but I wound up taking $10 that should have gone to Jason last week and went to Amazon instead.
Yeah. More than that, considering what you spent on the sales books.
Well, yeah. I mean, I don't count the sales books, but $3.99, $8, you know.
Yeah, but what if Jason had put that sale on at the comic seller?
I know.
Yeah.
I mean, this money should have gone to Jason, and instead it went to Amazon.
Right.
So I don't know, man. I don't know what they're doing. I don't. It doesn't make sense to me.
No, they've got to figure out a marketing strategy, because it ain't working.
It's not working at all, man. It's just not.
Yeah, it's
not
at all. But anyway,
so what do you think?
Do what now?
You want to talk about some comic books?
Yeah, let's talk about some comic books.
Let's do.
So for those of you who were a little surprised this week, Civil War #7 came out finally. This is kind of happening in the past now, because the Marvel Universe as a whole has moved on, but due to shipping schedules, we're still with issue #8's coming out, isn't it?
Issue #8 is coming out a month from now.
Yeah.
Whatever 4 weeks is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
the thing is, Death of X and IVX is already coming out. So you've got 2 events going on at the same time here. You've got Civil War 7, Death of X 4. You're going to have IVX 0 next week. You're just, they screwed this up so bad, and they wonder why their sales are bad.
Yeah, absolutely. So tell us about Civil War #7.
We begin with Ulysses having a vision, and this is where we left off last issue. And Medusa is trying to talk to him, and he finds himself in Old Man Logan's future, or the future that is Old Man Logan's. And he's confused, and he's trying to talk to Old Man Logan, who's confused because he doesn't understand why there's suddenly an Inhuman there.
Right. An Inhuman just appeared in the middle of the desert.
Right. Then we switch back to Miles Morales, Spider-Man. I just say Miles Morales because there's like 3 or 4 Spider-Man running around these days. You know, there's Miguel O'Hara, Miles Morales, and Peter Parker, and it's just easier to say Miles Morales.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so we got Miles Morales there on the Capitol steps, and the police are telling him to stand down. We switch back to Old Man Logan and Ulysses, and Old Man Logan's trying to explain to him when and where he is, and Ulysses is just confused. And then we switch to, God bless her, we switch to Maria Hill and Captain Marvel, and they're having a very polite discussion. And and Maria Hill was just saying, look, you just can't have a fight on the Capitol steps. Please don't have a fight on the Capitol steps.
Right. Do I need to explain to you why you can't have Spider-Man killing Captain America on the steps of the Capitol?
Right. Just please don't. Just please don't make this mess on the Capitol steps.
Yeah.
And
speaking of Maria Hill, before you go any further, she is apparently in the new Jessica Jones book that Brian Michael Bendis is writing that will come out.
She is, yeah. I've been reading some of it. Yeah.
Oh, have you? Okay. And I read an interview with Bendis recently, and he apparently she's like one of the star characters in that book.
Yeah, it's good, man.
Yeah,
but it's funny because she got shot, and so she got shot in Jessica
Jones.
I get all my Jessica's confused. I'm sitting there going Jessica Drew, Jessica Jones.
Jessica Jones is Luke Cage's wife in Alias.
Right. So she's patching her up, and she's Maria Hill's all kinds of drugged up, and she's just sitting there spilling secrets and babbling, and dude, it's hilarious. It's hilarious, man.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, because she's she's drugged up on morphine, so she's just babbling her brains out, and she's like every now and then she's like, I probably shouldn't have said that, and then she keep talking. It's a good read, man.
I'm looking forward to it.
I added it to my poll list a while back, and I'm going to go back and try and get the first few issues in a trade somewhere. It's a good read. Anyway,
are we not going to get it in unlimited?
No, we should have got. Dude, we should have got the first issue about a month ago.
Dang.
No, we had that conversation, man. It's an NC-17 book.
Oh, it's one of their Max series. Okay, well,
yeah, that's not what they call it, but that's what it is. We're not going to get it.
Yeah. Well, that's a bummer.
I think issue 2 would have come out sometime this week, last week, something like that. Yeah, it ain't coming, man.
Well, that's a bummer.
Yeah. Sorry.
It's a good reason to go support your local comic book store.
There's a reason it's on my pull list. That's when I added it to my pull list, is when I realized it wasn't coming.
Gotcha.
Yep. So then Captain America shows up on the Capitol steps, which is one of the few things that Maria Hill didn't want to happen. And then we cut back to Ulysses and Old Man Logan. And Old Man Logan explains to him that all the Inhumans are gone. And when Ulysses finally breaks through to him and asks him what happens, he explains to him that Captain Marvel, Carol Danvers, just pushed Tony Stark too far, and Tony Stark caused all the chaos.
Right. Like the reason the world the way it is in this future is because Tony Stark pushed Carol too far.
No, Carol pushed Tony Stark too far.
Carol pushed Tony Stark. Sorry.
Yeah. So we cut back to the Capitol. Captain's there. Miles Morales is there. And Carol shows up. And she's there trying to talk to him. And she's trying to reason with him. And then she reaches out to touch Miles. And there's a force field there. And we know who's projecting the force field, don't we? It's Tony.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who bum rushes in, ready for a fight, wearing like a Hulkbuster War Machine armor.
That's a good way to describe that. I was trying to think of how to describe that, and that's exactly what that is.
There's a reason he's wearing that armor.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. And they begin brawling it out, and they fight for a few pages, and at the end, Captain Marvel hits him pretty hard right in the chest.
Yeah, kills him.
Well, we don't know that.
I don't know, man. Looks like it kills him to me.
We don't know that.
Well, we'll see. We'll discuss it in the next issue because it's not, this is a comic book world. Death is not so easy. But what struck me is how this is so reminiscent of the way Thanos kills Rhodey in the beginning of Civil War. If you go back to the first issue and look at that panel and then look at this panel, they're almost the same.
This is true. Yes, it does look like.
Yeah, the two are mirrored it has to be intentional.
Yeah, probably so.
Yeah. So yeah, Carol Danvers, I guess, won the Civil War and put Tony out.
Well, we don't know that yet.
Looks like it. We'll find out, I guess, but looks like it to me.
Maybe.
Well, I mean, we already know what the aftermath is. That Tony Stark's uploaded himself into a computer as a AI, and he's running around with.
Well, some of these people might not know this.
Well, we talked about spoilers, and we've been reading Iron Man, Infamous Iron Man, and Riri Williams' book. So,
okay, fine.
It was a good issue. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, it was a very good issue.
I wish it had not
one
taken.
of the best issues of the series.
Yeah, it really is. You said this was a book in 3 acts, and this is Act 3.
Yeah.
So, yeah, very enjoyable. And I don't know what's going on with Ulysses. He's
you really don't?
I mean, I kind of do, but he is more than what he seems.
His powers are growing exponentially.
Yeah. And at some point, my guess is he's going to transcend something altogether.
Yes.
Yeah. The next big event we have going on is Death of X, and we have Death of X number 4, which is the last issue of Death of X.
Is this 2 separate events, or is it just all one big event? Death of X and IVX.
Oh, I thought you meant that in Civil War. I was like, the two kind of don't really cross paths.
I just think it's one big event.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of the kickoff for this whole Inhumans versus X-Men thing. The problem I have with this Death of X series is I keep having to remind myself this all happened before. This all happened before all the stuff we've read in X-Men.
Yeah, but they fixed that. They fixed that next week.
Yeah, well, yeah, it'll make more sense next week. But anyway, Cyclops' X-Men assemble outside of Madrid in order to destroy the Terrigen Cloud. Meanwhile, inside the city of Madrid, Magneto has contained and distracted both Storm's team of X-Men along with the Inhumans. Back on the outskirts of the city, Sunfire's getting ready to drop Alchemy into the Terrigen Cloud, where he's going to transmute it into something that's not toxic to mutants. So the royal family gets wind of this, and Black Bolt, Medusa, and the rest of them teleport in and shoot Sunfire out of the sky, and he drops Alchemy, where he breaks his arm. Cyclops gives Alchemy this whole pep talk about getting back in the fight, and you're doing this because you're an X-Man and all this stuff. There's this whole bit about being a soldier, and he tells him, I'm not a soldier. So Sunfire drops him into the Terrigen Cloud, and he transmutes it into some sort of different chemical. They never really say what it is, but it's this big red cloud that is no longer Terrigen. However, this comes at a cost, as it costs Alchemy his life. Cyclops then confronts the Inhumans, telling them they're natural enemies due to the Terrigen, that they became enemies as soon as they released the Terrigen clouds. And Black Bolt's just had enough, and he opens his mouth and just obliterates Cyclops in front of everybody. A week later on Muir Island, they're having a memorial service for Scott. And afterwards, Emma shows Havoc the real truth. Scott's been dead this whole time. He died in the first issue when they discovered the mists on Muir Island. He started coughing, he collapsed, he died in Emma Frost's arms right there. This drove Emma Frost insane, and she used this psychic projection of Scott in order to destroy the Terrigen. And her whole thing is this idea that Scott isn't dead, that he's an idea now, and that ideas never die. So yeah, she's totally off her rocker here in this last issue.
Yeah,
she's been off her rocker the whole time, but it's revealed in this issue. Now, I'll be honest with you, I figured this out, and I knew the whole time reading this. And if you didn't realize that Cyclops was dead the whole time and this was Emma Frost, go back and read their first 3 issues, and it reads like a different comic book.
Yeah, there are clues the whole way, particularly in
Yeah.
the first couple of issues,
Yeah.
if you're looking for them.
And Magneto figures it out too.
Yeah, Magneto figures it out instantly. And
Yeah.
the Cuckoos figured it out instantly.
Yeah, that's what the Cuckoos saw. That Emma was like, listen, shut up, don't talk about it. I know what I'm doing.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed this. I haven't loved the X-Men stuff in a while, but this Death of X series was really good. The art's really good, which I think is why I like it so much. It's a good way for Scott Summers to go out, I think. We've watched Scott Summers die like 9 times in the last couple of years, but due to the events of Secret Wars, he keeps coming back. But I think he's really dead this time.
I believe so.
At least for a little while.
Yeah.
Yeah, man, it was good. I enjoyed it. I'm looking forward to IVX. We get issue 0 next week. So yeah, it was good stuff.
Yeah.
I kind of like this idea of Emma Frost being a villain again.
She's like Magneto. She's a villain, but she's just a crazy villain. So
yeah, kind of.
Yeah.
She's a villain with a purpose, and she feels that she is justified in her actions.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it was good. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, there you go. That brings us to our Spider-Man stuff. By the way, next week I'm going to assign the books because somehow I got 2 crappy annuals and you got Venom and good stuff. I don't know how to. You got Spider-Man, Spider-Gwen, and Venom, and I got X-Men annuals and Amazing Spider-Man annuals. Yeah.
Hey, man, it's whoever does the notes.
I guess, man. That's what I get for being busy at work. I should have done this weekend. The only thing good about this
the Spider-Man annual sucks.
It sucks. Okay. There's 2 things good. It looks like they're actually doing something decent with Diablo, which should be entertaining. And they did something here with Cloak and Dagger. And I can tell you
that was cool.
And I can tell you in about 3 or 4 months, Cloak and Dagger are going to be playing a big part of the Marvel Universe. And that's the only thing interesting about this Marvel Universe, about the Spider-Man annual, because this book sucked.
Yeah. Why are annuals always so bad?
I don't know, man. Years ago, they used to do things with annuals. They'd use them for crossovers and they'd use them for events. And these days, they just suck, man. They use them for backup stories and to launch new artists. And I don't even know, man. I don't know. This thing sucked.
I mean, it just seems like every time there's an annual that comes out, I'm not interested in reading it because I know it's going to be a story. It's going to be a standalone story that is resolved in the issue that I don't care about. And it's not going to be any good.
I know. What was better?
The last time I read a good annual.
I don't either. I don't either. I tell you what was better was Prowler #2. This book is actually pretty good, and I did not have high hopes for it.
Yeah, I didn't either.
I didn't, and it's actually surprisingly good. This cover that was done by Travel Foreman and Jason Keats is good, and it's just an entertaining book. I'm trying to remember this dude's real name. Anyway, Prowler wakes up and he finds himself imprisoned by this young lady I've never seen before, but apparently she's from his past, and she wants to know why he's sneaking around New U.
I didn't know who it was either.
Her name's Julia Carpenter, and she's been if you read Daredevil, the last series of Daredevil, the Owl had hacked all of the tech in San Francisco. And I think the Kingpin killed him, or at least sent him to prison, and she took over all the Owl's tech. And she's spying on New U using all of that tech. And rather than helping her, the Owl crashes all that tech, which is pretty interesting because she apparently thought that the Prowler was going to help her. Instead, he takes down all the tech so she can't do anything with it, which leads to them getting in a fight. And then the Prowler's off his medication, because they've got to take that pill every 24 hours or they start having some kind of withdrawal.
Yeah.
And then as he's having the withdrawal,
Well, their body will degenerate.
Right. Not Electro. The Jackal has sent Electro out to find him and bring him back. So then he gets in a fight with Electro, and that's the conclusion of the book. This is good art, by the way. This is good art all the way through the book, and that's
Who'd you say the artist was?
I was looking at the cover artist. I don't know, but that's a good picture of Electro there at the end. This is really good art all the way through it. The artist is Javier Salatares is the layout artist, and Jamal Campbell is the artist.
Okay,
that's good art, man. That looks good.
It was good. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, this is a good book, man. This has been surprisingly good.
I tell you what, I'm becoming more and more convinced that the Jackal is not Miles Warren.
I don't think so either.
Yeah, I don't think he is. And I think that's why he's wearing the mask.
Yeah, I don't know who it is, but I don't think it's Miles Warren.
Yeah, I don't think so. Can't be.
No.
Spider-Gwen number 14. This has become one of my favorite books every month, and I wish we were getting it more often.
Okay, I really hated on Spider-Gwen last month.
Right, because it was kind of a filler issue.
They did that stupid Halloween filler issue because I wanted this issue. They took a sidetrack instead of giving me this issue, that's why I hated on it so much. Go ahead.
I know you did. I really enjoyed that issue. I'd been digging the Spider-Gwen stuff for a while, and then that issue was just really cool. But anyway, we open with...
we disagree on that.
So this is a Thanksgiving-themed issue. We open with Gwen visiting her father in prison. She's there along with Matt Murdock, who's a lawyer, but he's also the kingpin of this earth. So Matt Murdock, instead of being Daredevil and a good guy, is he's the kingpin, which I don't think they know. I don't think that's a open seat that's well known. Like everybody in the 616 universe knows that Wilson Fisk is the kingpin. I don't think everybody knows that Matt Murdock is kingpin here.
Spider-Gwen does. Gwen Stacy does, but I don't think anyone else does.
Yeah,
I think her dad does.
Okay. Yeah, but it's not an open public thing.
No.
Yeah. So he tells Captain Stacy that the reason he's locked up isn't because he cares about the truth, but because of his own ego. Which is probably true. So later they're on the roof and Matt Murdock tells Gwen that she can't be Spider-Woman until he says so. And it seems like he's got her pretty well under her thumb. Or under his thumb. Just because it seems like she's willing to do anything to help her dad, and Matt Murdock is taking advantage of that. The using Matt Murdock as Kingpin rather than Daredevil is absolutely genius, because he has all of his Daredevil powers. He can do all this stuff, but he chose to be Kingpin instead of Daredevil. And I just think that's a really cool twist on the character.
Yeah, I thought so.
Meanwhile, Ben Parker sends May Parker out to the store to pick up Thanksgiving Day supplies. She runs into Gwen and they talk about everything that's happened with Gwen's dad, with Peter, with all of it. Gwen gets this notion that May knows that she's Spider-Woman, but doesn't say anything about it. Then the artist changes for some reason to really crappy art. And Jessica Drew and Roger show up with burgers and insist on celebrating Thanksgiving with Gwen, despite her protests. Gwen just wants to sit on a roof and sulk and be an emo teenager. This all gets interrupted when the Koala Commander attacks the Thanksgiving Day parade. And because Gwen doesn't have her powers, Jessica and Roger have to spring into action. Also, apparently, Howard the Duck is president on Earth 65. I didn't realize that until now, but yeah.
There's a artist there, didn't they?
Yeah, they change artists like halfway through the book.
I noticed that art got bad, but I didn't realize that they changed. Now that you mentioned it, that did get bad.
Yeah, it went from Robbie Rodriguez's art to somebody else. And I mean, he's mentioned in the book. Let me see. What is that dude's name? No, that's the last page. Chris Visions. I really hope that guy's not going to start doing this book, because you're going to lose me, because I really enjoy Robbie Rodriguez's art in this book in particular. And I'd rather they didn't change it. So, yeah, there's a whole sequence where like Gwen and the Mary Janes are all texting each other, and they mention something about a duck pardoning a turkey. And I was like, oh my God, Howard the Duck is president in this world.
Yes.
How absolutely absurd.
Yeah.
Anyway, it was a good issue. It looks like we're going to get more of it next month. It's a shame we have to wait a whole month, but you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's been good stuff, dude. I've really enjoyed this book.
I did enjoy the book. I did.
Then we have Venom #1. They're revamping Venom a little bit. You know, he was with Flash Thompson and he was the Space Knight, which I was really enjoying, but apparently nobody else did. So they have reverted Venom back into a villain. So in the beginning of this book here, Matt Gargan is down on his luck. Former Spider-Man villain, the Scorpion, and former Venom host is having a hard time finding work and keeping off the streets. So he signs up with an old friend of his who's involved with Black Cat's gang to move some merchandise. This is another example where we're seeing in multiple books across the whole Marvel line, Black Cat is making moves in the criminal underworld. She's really becoming the new Kingpin, at least in New York. And of course, you got Kingpin hanging out in on the West Coast now, so she seems to be consolidating power, and she's really become the big crime boss. So this deal starts to go off the rails when the guys start insulting each other. The guns come out, and it looks like it might be lights out for Mac, when suddenly the Venom symbiote busts in through the wall. It takes over Mac, and he's Venom once again. He kills all the thugs, including his friend, takes all the merchandise, and decides what he's going to do next with his newfound power. Introducing the all-new, all-different Venom who isn't new or different at all.
Yeah, there you go.
He also doesn't remember being Venom, and he was Venom for years, which I don't understand. He was the host of the Venom symbiote for 3 or 4 years before Flash Thompson, and he seems to not remember that at all.
I don't know. Honestly,
I don't either.
Care.
It wasn't bad. I'll be honest, it's not a bad book, especially for a first issue. But man, they were doing really creative stuff with Venom, and now they're just going back to the old ways, and I'm just not. This is what comic book fans complain about usually.
Dude, but sales on this book are through the roof.
Really?
Really. I mean, last month, April of 2017, last month, the most recent month the sales figures are out. This is the highest selling book that wasn't, let me put it this way. It outsold all the Secret Empires book. I think maybe Star Wars outsold it. And maybe there was like one other Star Wars book that Marvel had that outsold it.
Yeah.
And Venom came in at like number 7 or 8.
Oh, wow.
In the top selling books. Dude, outsold Spider-Man, literally outsold everything Marvel has.
Huh. Well, okay. I mean, I'm willing to give it a chance. I like Venom even when he's a villain. I was just enjoying the other stuff.
I'm with you.
Who's writing this? Mike Costa. Okay, I like Mike Costa just fine. So maybe it'll be good.
Well, maybe so.
I've got high hopes for it. Not high hopes, but I've got hopes.
Okay.
Moderate hopes.
There you go. That brings us to the X-Men section with all new X-Men Annual #1.
Yep.
2 stories.
Hey, guess what? Another annual that sucks.
Heidi goes on a date, which, because it's the X-Men teenagers, we have one of them going on a date. I'm going to tell you the truth. Didn't even read the story. Don't care.
It's not
didn't
terrible,
read it.
But it's not awful.
I don't care.
But it wasn't any good either.
The next one was about Daniel Moonstar, who is a character I actually enjoy. And I did read that story. And she doesn't have her mutant power anymore, but she's still she's still got her Asgardian powers. And she goes, there's a pretty funny line in there actually by Magic, who says she's more of an Uber driver these days rather than a mutant.
Right, because she has that teleportation power, so she's the token teleporter.
Right. And it's just, yeah. Anyway, so what Daniel Moonstar's ability these days is that she can sense death and when people are going to die. And she's walking by this bar and she realizes everyone in the bar, which is dozens, maybe hundreds of people, is going to die. And who was it? God, I just forgot who it was. Lady Mastermind is in there. And
I have no idea who that is.
Mastermind's daughter. I'd have to go back, and she and Dakin had a thing going a while back, and they were taking over the Hellfire Club. Anyway.
Oh, okay.
Anyway, she's going to die from Mpox, and she's determined to take everybody in the room with her telepathy. And Daniel Moonstar talks to her, or takes her to one of the I think she takes her to X-Haven and heals her.
Yeah.
And it's really a decent little story. It's not great, but it's a decent little story, man. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, it was okay. It wasn't bad.
And there's some decent art in that that little story too.
Yeah, the art's good too. So not bad, but as annuals go, who cares?
Yeah, I care because I enjoyed seeing a Daniel Moonstar story.
Okay.
She's one of those characters that I think has lots of possibilities, and has just kind of been left on the scrap heap for a while.
Yeah, they just haven't really done anything with her.
Right. So and there's X-Men 92 #9, and
I skimmed it. It's an apocalypse story. The art's awful. It's not awful. It's a decent art style. I just don't think if you're going to do an X-Men 92 themed book, I don't think it's good art for that book, because that X-Men 92 is very reminiscent of a specific time for the X-Men, and it should look like that. It should look like that 90s X-Men, and it doesn't.
Right.
I didn't really read it. I skimmed it a little bit. It was okay.
Yeah, I'm with you.
But it's there for those who want to read it.
Yeah.
Then we have our regular. We didn't have any Avengers book this week, so we're just moving on to our regular. We call it the 616 section, but it's whatever doesn't fit into the other sections.
Oh wait, it's where the Tum Sum book and the Marvel Tiki Room books are.
Oh yeah, we also had Marvel Sum Sum and Tiki Room. Those were there also, and we just thought we'd mention that. We didn't read them, or at least I didn't. But if you're into that, okay.
Knock yourself out.
Yeah, knock yourself out. So we have Cage #2. This is a Luke Cage book. He's captured by some tiger people. He escapes. He's running through the jungle, and then he goes on an acid trip.
I actually thought that was funny.
Okay.
I just admit, I don't know why.
I'll admit the style of art in this book is good if you want to do that kind of thing, like the acid trip thing.
It was like an old Jim Steranko art style, and they kind of did the acid trip, and that made it funny. That made it kind of entertaining, and it was. And Misty's like trying to talk to him through the haze of the drugs. It was I don't know.
Yeah,
maybe as an old owner, I found it funny. I don't know.
I didn't really understand what was going on, but it was all right. I'm not a big fan of this series, but it was okay.
I didn't say I was a fan of the series. I said I found this book entertaining.
Yeah, I mean, it's not bad. It's all right.
Yeah, I mean, there's
all that happens in the book is.
I mean, he finds there's jokes about his body being made for fighting and not running. You know, he can't run in those shoes. You know, then he sniffs the wrong plant and gets stoned. I just. And by the way, this isn't a book for kids.
No, not at all.
I find it humorous. So, maybe it's just me and my sense of humor. Maybe it's because I'm an old druggie. I don't know.
Yeah,
Maybe it's because I grew up in the 70s. What do I know?
probably.
Probably. Yeah. Yeah.
Anyway, we had Mighty Thor number 13.
Did you read this?
Yeah,
Did you enjoy it?
it was okay.
I really did enjoy it. It reminded me of golly. Dude. Speaking of drugs, and yeah. Anyway, it reminded me of Tolkien's Lord of the Rings.
Yeah, a little bit.
It did, and the name of the story is actually The League of Realms Rides Again.
They even make Tolkien Lord of the Ring jokes in the book.
They do. It's written by Jason Aaron. Steve Epting's art is great.
Always.
And yeah, and Thor is accompanied by. I wish there was a page where I could find all these characters' names. She's got Angela there.
Who's less naked than she used to be.
Yes, they actually comment about that. She's got the lady from S.H.I.E.L.D. there. She's got a troll. She's got a giant. She's just got them all.
Yeah, it's her own. It's her own Fellowship of the Rings.
Yes, she has a Fellowship of the Rings, and they're finally declaring war on the Dark Elf.
Yeah, Malekith.
Malekith, and it's just pretty cool. I mean, it's a there's a nice splash page on page 14 where it shows them all together. It's just cool. It's a good story. Of course, they're trying to do it silently, and Angela doesn't do silent, so
No.
She goes in killing and smashing. It's good. It's really good. I was surprised Loki was with him there on the last page. I thought Loki was on her side.
I'm not sure that Loki even knows what side he's on.
That's true. Anyway, it was a good read. It was a really good read. I really enjoyed it. I did. And by the way, do you understand this cancer and Thor thing?
My understanding is that every time she transforms into Thor, it undoes whatever the chemo has done to help fight the cancer.
Then why doesn't she just stay as Thor?
She does a lot of the times.
And there's no way to get healed as Jane Foster?
Apparently not.
I mean, if you know all these heroes and you know all these healers,
yeah,
you can't have one of them say, "Hey, hook me up here."
Yeah, you would think so, but I mean,
Sam Wilson already knows who she is, I guess.
Yeah, it's a plot device, so they're not gonna
just roll with it. Okay, I got it.
Just roll with it. Yeah. Then we have Doctor Strange and the Sorcerer Supremes #2. If you don't remember from the first issue, Merlin has gone through time and assembled a team of various Sorcerer Supremes from the ages in order to fight these forgotten monsters. So at the end of the first issue, Merlin dies. So Merlin's dead, and now the Supremes are losing this fight against this big monster. They teleport away to safety. The plan now is to infiltrate Merlin's tower and get into his library in order for them to find a way to lock the forgotten monster back in its prison. So they spend some time falling into some of Merlin's traps that he's used to safeguard his tower. And eventually they escape and make their way into the Kingdom of Camelot, which seems to have changed in the wake of Merlin's death. There's also something going on with Wiccan. I'm not sure. I'm sure that they'll explore that a little more. But this is a future version of Wiccan where he has preceded Doctor Strange as the Sorcerer Supreme. It's not bad. It's pretty good. They spend a lot of this issue kind of fleshing out some of the characters. You've got some like Native American girl who is a former Sorcerer Supreme. You have a young Ancient One who's not the Ancient One yet. He's still a very brash, arrogant young kid. You got Wiccan there. You've got Doctor Strange. You've got some dude who has a mindless one that is his buddy. I don't know. Yeah, it's not bad. I'll be honest with you. I'm enjoying it more than the main Doctor Strange book.
I did enjoy it. Yes, I enjoyed it quite a bit.
Yeah, it was good.
Yeah,
this is the sort of stuff I want to see in a Doctor Strange book.
Yeah,
instead of Doctor Strange eating hell bacon in a hell diner.
True.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is true. It was, and I didn't. Yeah. Anyway, there were plot devices in that one. I was going to ask you questions, but they're plot devices, so I won't ask.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm about to have to explain the Ultimates #2 in a few minutes, so asking questions will just only confuse my mind.
Probably.
Yeah, my mind's confused enough.
Then we have Moon Girl and Devil Dinosaur.
I mistakenly said that was canceled last month. And that was not canceled. That is still
it's selling very well.
It is selling very well. And it's, I think, issue 18 or 19 came out a couple of weeks ago. It's doing very well. And I don't know
it's apparently
why I thought it was canceled.
It's selling really well through the Scholastic's reading magazine. They probably didn't have this when you were a kid, but in fact, I'm not sure they even had books, just stone tablets. But
that's funny.
Scholastic every 3 months distributes a magazine and catalog to all the elementary schools, and each kid gets one. And it's basically a catalog of kids' books, and you order whatever you want. And apparently it's selling really well through that.
Yes, they had the Scholastic magazine when I was a kid.
Did they? Okay. I didn't know how recent that was.
And I read quite a bit when I was a kid. I read that, dude.
Did those stone tablets get heavy in your backpack that was made out of brontosaurus skin?
Dude.
I'm just giving you a hard time, man.
I know you are. That's what makes it fun.
Anyway, what did you think of Moon Girl and Devil Dinosaur?
I enjoyed seeing the Hulk sitting at their dinner table. Amadeus Cho sitting there at their dinner table with them. That was pretty fun. And what's happened is they've realized how smart she is, but no one knows what to do with it. No one knows what to do with her since she really is that smart. And she's having trouble in school. She's having trouble fitting in everywhere because everyone has finally realized that she really is as smart as she's always thought she was, because she really is that smart, and she just can't fit in anywhere.
Right. It's kind of like what we saw with that book with Riri Williams a couple of weeks ago, where they're explaining to her parents, she's smarter than me and you and everybody else, and you're going to have to learn to manage it.
Right. Yeah, and that's where she's at. And at the end, we see different people trying to talk to her along the way, and at the end, we see Ben Grimm coming up trying to talk to her. He's going to take a swing at it, so that should be fun.
Yeah, it was good.
Yeah.
Then we have Captain Marvel #10. So Captain Marvel has gotten into a confrontation with Alpha Flight. She has done this in order to draw out Philip Beaulieu, who is the comic book version of Justin Trudeau, out into the open as the villain that he is. He reveals himself to actually be the Master of the World, who's a villain I'm not familiar with.
Dude, the Master of the World is an old Alpha Flight villain.
Is he? Okay, I wondered.
Yeah, he's the Dr. Doom of Alpha Flight. I mean, he's been around since the first issue of Alpha Flight. Very good villain. I I would say go read it, but it's probably not in Unlimited.
No, probably not.
I'll look.
I wonder if there is any Alpha Flight in Unlimited.
I'm looking. Keep talking about it, and I'll see if it's there.
There's lots of fighting. They beat the villain. Captain Marvel is hailed as a hero by the people in the wake of Civil War, despite the fact that the Ultimates program is dead and Henry Gyrick's political career is over. Carol continues to lead Alpha Flight, even though they no longer really trust each other. And that's it. This is the end of the book and apparently the end of the series.
No, she's getting a new series.
Right. She's getting another one, but this is the end of this particular volume.
Yeah.
They're going to relaunch next month or something, I suppose.
Yeah. The first 8 series of the 1983 book is there. First 8 books.
Okay, so there is some Alpha Flight in there.
Yeah.
What do you know?
Yeah. That was a good series, too. I thought John Byrne wrote and drew that series.
Did he not?
I think he did.
Okay.
I'm looking. It was a very good series. Never really, it never had the huge sales that they thought it would, like the X-Men. But Byrne did a great job on it, and I think he left it for the Fantastic Four.
Okay. Yeah, if you want to read Alpha Flight and want to know more about who they are, they're Canada's greatest of heroes. Yeah, go read it because apparently it's there in Unlimited.
Okay, so here's the situation.
Mm-hmm.
If I seem to have lost focus for the last 10 minutes, for those who don't know, a year and a half ago, I had my shoulder replaced. And somewhere in the last day or so, I have done what seems to have popped it out of socket. Okay. And if that sounds painful, well, it is. Hence, I've come home and taken painkillers. And I took the painkillers right before the show started. So when we were discussing being stoned, well, I am. And as I'm sitting here trying to focus on the show, stoned on painkillers, my phone is blowing up with a family text. So I'm watching the family text and I'm trying to figure out what all these texts are about. And I'm sitting here and there's a video of my niece in Cincinnati. And I read what the video is about and I'm like, how did that get recorded? And they said, well, she was Snapchatting while she did it. And I said, okay, but so she was Snapchatting while she did it. This is going somewhere. You got to work with me.
Mm-hmm.
I know I'm stoned, but you got to work with me.
Yeah.
So she was Snapchatting while she was brushing her teeth. The problem is she was focusing on the Snapchatting, so she picked up her acne medicine instead of toothpaste and started brushing her teeth. The whole thing was recorded, and she realized she had acne medicine in her mouth instead of toothpaste, and then spits it all over just all over the mirror and all over everywhere. It's on video. It's pretty funny.
This is why you don't Snapchat and do other things.
There you go. Yeah. So I'm like trying to focus on you and trying to focus on that. And yeah, and my focusing ability is pretty much down the tubes anyway. And there you go.
Well, why don't you go ahead and tell us about Ultimates 2, number 1?
There you go. Ultimates 2, number 1. This began back at the end of Secret Wars. Is that correct? Secret Wars.
Yeah, it was when they put together the Ultimates team.
Yeah, because Owen Reese realized that Eternity was in chains. And everybody's known that Eternity was in chains, but nobody has realized why. And it begins with Eternity screaming. And again, nobody realizes why. And it just kind of, these first couple of pages are just somebody realizing that Eternity is screaming. And then you cut to Blue Marvel, who's in his lab, and he's doing some experiments on Monica Rambeau.
I think it's Rambeau. I think it's Rambeau.
Thank you very much. Yeah, you get all those Cajuns, man. It just all runs together.
Mhm.
Anyway, Monica Rambeau, and they're discussing. She's not really fond of it, but he's trying to see the world through her eyes and see how she looks and see how she sees things, because she doesn't have a real body. She's just composite light.
Yeah.
So, and it's really an act of love, and I think eventually she realizes it. Anyway,
Yeah, there's something going on with those two.
well, they're in love, dude.
Okay.
I don't think she realizes it, but
Yeah, well, there's sort of a May December thing going on, but all right.
well, yeah. I mean, dude, the Blue Marvel is like 80, and she's like, well, I don't even know how old she is.
She's like teenager in her 20s.
Oh God, no, man, no, dude. She's like led the Avengers, and she's been around forever, dude. She's got to be in the 40s,
Oh, okay.
30s at
Well,
least.
I thought she was younger than that.
No, man, she's been Captain Marvel and led the Avengers, and she's been around a long time. She's died and come back to life several times. And
Let me look at this and make.
It's a question as to whether or not she's really alive now.
Okay.
Yeah. So anyway, they're falling in love when Connor Sims, also known as Anti-Man, also known as the latest Herald of Galactus, shows up and starts discussing with them. And the Blue Marvel thinks he's got a weapon for him. The problem is he doesn't know he's become the Herald of Galactus and now has the power cosmic. And yeah, that fight doesn't last very long.
No, in fact, it never really gets off the ground.
No, it doesn't take long at all, because he's now has power cosmic along with his other powers.
Yes,
and it ends pretty quick. Which all this happened in the last issue of the Ultimates, I believe. Is that correct? Is that where Galactus gave him the
power cosmic and made him his herald? Yeah, it was pretty much the last panel of the last issue.
Yeah. So then we cut to a bar in the middle of nowhere where Captain Marvel and the Black Panther are having a meeting and discussing the Ultimates. And apparently they're both having the same visions they both are, about the universe screaming. And they're both aware of it, but they don't really know what to do about it. And about that time, go ahead.
Well, I was going to say, I really like T'Challa's alter ego here.
Yeah, what do you call himself?
Luke Charles.
Yeah, Luke Charles. There you go.
Yeah. You tell me about the Ultimates, and I'm going to go see who's ringing the crap out of my doorbell. I'll be right back.
Okay. And about that time, Connor Sims, the Herald, shows up to capture them also, and he takes them to the same place that he's taken everyone else, which is to see Galactus. And Galactus explains to him that they're there for a higher purpose. And about that time, America Chavez shows up and says, look, you're not here to see Galactus. You're here because I wanted you here. And by the way, we've been discussing how much they've amped up America Chavez's powers lately, and apparently they have, because she's just kind of kicking it with Galactus. So if she's kicking it with Galactus, they have obviously amped up her powers a lot, and there you go.
Yeah,
but she's now the leader of the Ultimates.
Yeah, I told you back in, I guess it was the last issue of this, that they were ramping up her power set. And clearly at the last page here, you see they have done that.
Yeah, the fact that she's just kicking it with Galactus and ain't even worried about it, and yeah,
she's the leader of the new Ultimates, who are essentially Galactus is now their leader, apparently.
No, it says she's the leader, but I think Galactus is one of the Ultimates.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Is like she's the leader, but Galactus has put this whole thing in motion.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, he's called them together. He wants them. There you go.
Yeah, I really enjoyed this. I'm really looking forward to where it's going.
Dude, I did it.
It's gonna be good stuff.
I did a cheat on this and watched one of Rob's comic pull list videos on it.
Yeah.
So I can kind of understand it as we were reading it, because it can get kind of convoluted.
Oh, you don't say.
And you don't say, yes.
Yeah, this
And
book
dude,
is
This
definitely
is going to get good. This is
Yeah.
really going to get good.
this book is definitely a Marvel comic books Marvel comic book readers comic book. It deals with the cosmic entities. It's dealing with a lot of characters that you may not necessarily know. You need to have a certain level of knowledge about the Marvel universe to really appreciate this book.
Yeah, I mean, on one end you have Squirrel Girl and you have Patsy Walker. On the other end, you have this. You know, this is about as far between the two as you can get.
Yeah, this is a serious comic book reader's comic book.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it was really good. It's probably one of my favorite things they're publishing right now. Now that Vision book is over.
Yeah, this is good.
Yeah.
That's the end of the 616 stuff, which brings us to the Star Wars section. And we had two very good Star Wars books this week.
Yeah, we had Star Wars number 25. So
I will let the elite snobbish Star Wars person. I was like, dude, hey, you know, all the Star Wars omnibus stuff is on sale in the Amazon. Oh, they aren't canon anymore.
Well, they're not.
Who cares if they're not canon? Well, but you can still read them and enjoy them.
Yeah,
all the Admiral Thrawn stuff is still good reads, man. You can still enjoy them.
Yeah, but I mean, I don't know. I'm just not into reading something that's not canon anymore.
It's still a good read.
Yeah, I'm not disagreeing with you. I'm just saying I'm not interested.
Holy cow. Okay, fine.
Not being a snob, I just want to read what's relevant.
It's just, dude, it's all fiction. What does it matter if it's not? It's a fiction.
Yeah, but that stuff's more fiction than this is.
Oh, holy cow. All right, Star Wars number 25.
Anyway, Star Wars number 25. So the various rebels are able to get the upper hand on this stormtrooper team that's boarded their Star Destroyer that they've commandeered. They managed to also get the engines and guns back online. It's really funny because Chewbacca's fighting one of the stormtroopers, kicked them into one of the power banks, fries the dude, and all of a sudden Han Solo comes across the comms. He's like, "Hey, you got the engines back online. Good work, Chewie." And he's like, "Yeah, okay." So now they're able to take the fight to the Empire. They all escape and ram the Star Destroyer into the Imperial fleet and win the day. Hooray! Luke chooses not to confront Vader this time, vowing to be ready next time that they run into each other. So Luke's in his X-Wing, Vader's in his TIE fighter. They're about to face off, and Luke says next time and jumps to hyperspace. And of course, that next time will be Empire Strikes Back. At least I assume. Vader is very upset with his elite stormtrooper team having failed him, but they do have a consolation prize for him. They were able to capture C-3PO, who I assume they will extract all kinds of information from. Then there's a backup story about droids. It's terrible. Please don't read it.
Dude, I got like 2 or 3 pages into that thing, and I was like,
it's literally R2D2 bumping into things, and that's it.
Why did they waste our time with this stuff?
I don't know.
I mean, what editor looked at that and said, "This is a good story"?
Dunno. I'm trying to think of who did the art for this, because it looks like what's his name? Dang it. The guy that used to do the comic strip, the little boy and the tiger, and
the first one or the second one?
The second one.
Oh, Calvin and Hobbes?
Yeah, Calvin and Hobbes. It looks like Calvin and Hobbes, but apparently it's not. But whoever did it, whoever did it is definitely channeling the guy that did Calvin and Hobbes. Anyway, the story sucks. Don't read it. The backup story, not the main Star Wars story. The main Star Wars story is good. The backup story is god awful.
It is.
Then we have Han Solo number 5. So the race continues as the racers are pursued by the Empire. Also, Han finds out that one of the spies has been murdered on board his own ship, which he's not happy about. Lou Riano summons these giant space jellyfish to fight off the Empire while the racers escape. With this brief reprieve, Han goes to deal with the murderer of the rebel spy. They find out that it's the cowardly alien dude from the very first issue. It was always going to be him. I always suspected it was him. The one who's that. It's that trope, dude. The cowardly one is always the murderer. So they knock him out and lock him up and turn him over to the rebels later. The racers are coming up on the finish line, which is this interdimensional gate that's supposed to transport them back to the beginning of the race, which is on the other side of the galaxy. But it turns out its original purpose was to send Lou Riano's species into some kind of in-between space. We've had all this stuff about his species being the last of his kind or whatever. It turns out they weren't extinct or anything. They just went somewhere else to a different dimension in between space. So he's able to use that gateway to summon his own people to fight off the Empire while the racers make it to safety. It's kind of convoluted about who wins because they all kind of come in at the same time. So there's no real winner of the race. Han goes back to the rebel base, turns over the spies, and he and Leia do some flirting while he threatens to leave and not help the rebellion anymore. But he's going to stick around anyway, as we know.
Of course he is.
I guess this is the last issue of this.
I thought this was an ongoing series, but apparently it's a limited series, which I was kind of disappointed.
Yeah. I mean, they can always do it, like with that Darth Vader series. They can always do another story arc, and they probably will.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, it wasn't half bad.
No.
So that's everything for the week. That's all our books. What was your favorite this week, Pat?
Oh, dude, it was absolutely Ultimates 2, number 1.
Yeah, Spider-Gwen was real close, but definitely Ultimates just barely edged it out.
Yeah, the 2 event books were close, but dude, it's definitely that Ultimates book. I mean, the art was great. The story's great. Dude, by far.
Yeah, good stuff. Yeah, easily. What do we have in the dump this week?
A Pride and Wisdom book. It's funny because Kitty always falls in love with guys named Peter, whether it's Pete Wisdom, Peter Rasputin,
Peter Quill.
or Peter Quill. Yeah. Anyway,
Peter Parker in the Ultimate Universe.
Yeah. So anyway, this is another one. We got that Avengers Infinity book. Yeah, nothing really there. I mean, it's a little bit of stuff. They're filling gaps.
Yeah. We'll probably start to see some Spider-Man stuff here soon with the new movie coming. But otherwise, right now they're just filling in gaps. And then what is our classic read this week?
Our classic read, because of the Ultimates, is Fantastic Four 48 through 50. It's a great read. It's the first appearance of the Silver Surfer and Galactus. If you want to understand where the Herald comes from, where Galactus comes from, there's no better place than the original Fantastic Four series from 1961, Fantastic Four 48 through 50.
Cool.
Yeah.
And if you remember, we talked about that one in a previous episode of What's Next, which is our podcast where we tell you what you should be reading next in Marvel Unlimited. Please go give it a listen. This week's episode is about the Ultimates and the Ultimate Universe and its impact on the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
There you go.
You can also email us at 6monthsbehind@gmail.com. That's the number 6monthsbehind@gmail.com. Please give our website a visit.
www.6monthsbehind.com, where you can find information on this podcast or What's Next podcast, or Twitter feed. It's all there.
Yeah, Twitter feed is at 6 months behind, the number 6 months behind. Facebook.com/6monthsbehind. And we also have a Tumblr page, which I assume is Tumblr dot or
6 months
six,
behind.
no, it's 6monthsbehind.tumblr.com.
Yep.
We got them all.
Do we have wisdom?
Yes. Before we go, I do have a little wisdom. Martin Luther King Jr. once said that every man must decide whether he will walk in the light of creative altruism or in the darkness of destructive selfishness.
You know, it's amazing how many quotes Martin Luther King had that were just
Illuminating.
Thank you.
Yeah. I thought it was an appropriate quote given the themes that are going on in Ultimates.
Yeah, there you go.
Yep. All right, guys, that wraps us up. We will see you next time.
Peace.